If stress feels normal to you, it's not because you're broken, it's because it's your survival mechanism. You living in a state of stress is what you did in order to survive in the world. And if you're watching this video, you are ready to release that, especially because I'm filming this in December of 2025. And let's face it, the end of the year, the holidays, December has a reputation for being incredibly stressful. So let's start transforming stress into ease today. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. Lately, we've been talking about living from a place of feminine energy. We've been talking about nervous system regulation, which is a big one. We're going to be talking about today and so much more. This is based on my 15 years of experience coaching women in different areas of their lives and being certified in a lot of different modalities, including being a certified professional coach since 2013 and also being a certified holistic healer, as well as just, 15 years of coaching, and you just notice the same patterns over and over and over again. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And as always, if I have any resources available to help you go deeper into the content that we're going to be talking about in the video today, then I'm going to let you know throughout the video. There's two places you can actually get started today. Number one would be with our free Enhance Your Feminine Energy guide, which all you need to do is input your name and your email. It's 100% free, and you will get emailed a guide with the multiple ways to enhance your feminine energy in the next 7 days. And it will show you how it's going to positively affect you in terms of how you make money and doing it from a place of more ease, and also in your relationships and other areas of your life. And I'm very excited to announce that we have officially opened the doors for our Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle. You guys have been asking me to kind of put all of the most important trainings of feminine energy in one place, and I've done it. I've created 13 initiations that are a part of this bundle that every woman needs to go through in order to go from a state of pure stress and survival to one of more ease and flow, where love and money and health and abundance and prosperity and all these wonderful things are magnetized to her instead of her having to go hustle. And it's based on my experience of having gone from a overworked, stressed out, hyper independent, perpetually single, having a bunch of hormone problems woman to, within a couple of years, manifesting my husband, living overseas, and now creating businesses that bring in money with a lot more ease and a lot more flow. So if that's something you're interested in, I invite you to it. It's on early bird sale until the 18th. It will never be at this price point ever again, because this is the first time we're opening the doors to the portal. So let's get into it. Before getting into it, I want to start videos these days by inviting in a slow breath. So I want you to take in an inhale, and I want you to exhale longer than your inhale. And I want you to do that a couple more times before I get into the content and the meat of this video. And if you got to pause the video in order to do that, and then come right back. So a lot of women these days, they think that stress is normal. Or for example, one thing that you often hear at the end of the year is how everybody is so busy because they're going to this party, that party, they're trying to finish the year strong. I just did a video on that and how that's basically a lie. And they think that being stressed and being busy and constantly overscheduled is a normal part of life. The reality is that it's not. You're basically in survival mode, and the truth is that to you, feeling stressed is familiar, not necessarily aligned. In fact, I can guarantee you that it's not aligned, because your nervous system can learn ease in the same way that it learned tension. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When your nervous system learns ease, guess what starts to happen? You will manifest whatever it is that you want, because your ability to manifest relies on how safe your nervous system feels with receiving the manifestation that you are trying to call in. When I finally learned about this and understood this, I was able to manifest my husband within 4 months after being single for like 10 or 15 years. In addition to that, I was able to manifest moving to another country, which was a dream that I had for many years. And every time I tried to make it happen before I understood this, there was always some problem, some roadblock, some challenge, some delay. And then in addition to that, Now, co-creating different businesses and co-creating more prosperity first through my husband's businesses. He has like 2 or 3, and creating prosperity in that way, in a way that's full of more ease and more flow and more pleasure for me because he's the provider, but also learning from him actually how to come back in a career in a way that is more in alignment with my feminine energy, that's more systematized. And what I mean by systematized is basically everything is handled behind the scenes for me by automations that my husband built, by the way, so that all I have to do is the thing that I'm really good at, which is the videos and the creative part that I really enjoy. Everything else is just kind of taken care of, and then I'm able to receive really easily. That's very different from how I used to live my life, because I used to live my life from a constant state of stress because that's what I learned from the people around me. So I thought that in order for me to make more money, I had to be really busy and really stressed out, and look how important I am because I'm so busy. I thought that in relationships, if I did not overfunction and if I did not lead in the relationships, that I wasn't going to get what I wanted. How many of you have done that? And a lot of this stuff had also, and I didn't realize it at the time, had a negative effect on my health because I struggled with hormone issues and thyroid problems for like 15 years until I understood this. And now I can tell you that my hormones are fine. They're completely fine. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I live in a country now, I'm in Mexico now, where there's a higher food quality than the United States. I'm positive that has something to do with it, but it's also because I've learned to regulate my nervous system and actually slow down. And even if I am in an intense moment or I am working, I've now learned how to do that from a place of ease so that I have more capacity. And here's why this matters. When you're living in survival mode, you are constantly over-functioning. When you're over-functioning, you feel responsible for everything. It's like you can't take a second to relax or chill out because you think everything around you is going to completely fall apart and like the world is on your shoulders, and if you don't do it, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. So what happens is you chase, you force, and you push even when you are exhausted. And what a lot of women have to realize is that ease is not laziness, it's actually safety. And I just gave some examples of what that looks like. Because when the body feels safe and the body feels at ease, which doesn't necessarily mean sitting around and doing nothing and eating bonbons all day, although I certainly have those days in my life, it means that even if you are busy or doing a lot, that you are doing it from a place of ease. Because when you're able to do that, life moves toward you and things just work out a lot better. So here's what creates a stress-based nervous system, which is what most women are walking around with these days. Growing up around chaos, pressure, or unpredictability. That's a big one. So if a child grows up around unpredictability or chaos, they constantly want to control everything around them. And that's, male or female. They will do that. Being praised for overachieving or being the strong one, that's another way in which that shows up. A constant urgency culture. So I'm from the United States. The United States has an urgency culture. Everything's important. Everything's a deadline. Everything is how much you can produce. Everything's a competition. Everything's about winning. Everything is about not getting sick so that you don't have to go to the doctor because God forbid you deal with health insurance in the United States, right? So there's this constant urgency culture. There's this constant low level anxiety in the culture, just running in the background all the time. And when you're in that, your nervous system learns, I must stay on high alert in order to be okay. I must control in order to be okay. I must be hyper vigilant in order to be okay. So in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, I have 2 initiations. There's 13 total, but there's 2 initiations in that bundle where I talk specifically and do a really deep dive into nervous system regulation. In fact, there are protocols in there to help you with nervous system regulation over a 21-day period. And I mention it a lot. And I have another initiation in there that's the nervous system and money, the nervous system and love. The nervous system when you're moving from surviving to thriving. And I go really deep into those things of how to rewire in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, and you can grab it at the early bird price below, but I'm going to give you a little sneak peek right now. So how do you actually start to rewire so that you can go from stress to ease? Number 1 is your rewiring starts with awareness. So you have to start noticing and paying attention to when your body tightens. You want to notice when you have shallow breath. That's mine. Like, I will catch myself not breathing, and then I'll be like, oh, time to breathe deeply again. So that's my go-to, is the shallow breath. You want to notice when you start doing instead of feeling or being. Very, very important. A lot of us are running around doing all the freaking time, especially those of us who are from Western countries, or our nervous systems were wired that we had to do that in order to be safe. I was one of those. And then, of course, awareness is the doorway, because you can't shift what you cannot see. You cannot shift what you cannot sense. You cannot shift what you cannot feel. So we have to learn to start paying attention to the signals that our body is sending us. Now we're going to go into a few of these rewiring principles so you can take this video and start applying it. And again, for those of you who want to go deeper, I invite you to join us in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, which you can get at an early bird price for a limited time. Information is below. So rewiring principle number 1 is softening before solving. This is so hard for those of us who are constantly used to solving problems, or we spent a lot of time constantly solving problems. So what does this look like? This looks like pause before reacting. So chill out. That 1 second that you pause before you immediately react can change everything. You might want to put your hand on your heart or your belly, which actually releases oxytocin when you do that. And you want to ask yourself, what does my body need right now? And when you respond, do it from a place of softness, not survival, because a feminine woman and a woman living from feminine energy, she doesn't rush to try and figure out an answer. Here's rewiring principle number 2. You want to learn how to regulate through ritual. So it's really interesting how in pre-modern times, when we were still living in more communities and more tribal, there were a lot of rituals. There were constantly rituals for everything in pre-modern times. And I have since learned why that is and why they were so important based on some research and some books I was reading. And according to Jungian analysts, basically what was going on is the reason those rituals existed in the first place was to keep our egos in check. Because every human being has an ego, and every human being has some grandiosity that lives within them. So I find it really interesting how now you go on YouTube, or people are having relationship problems, and like everybody's a narcissist, and there's a rise in narcissism, and it's not exactly a coincidence. And this book was making the connection between when you don't have rituals that keep your people's egos in check, like pre-modern societies used to have, actually Age of Enlightenment, I should say, then what happens is that everybody's grandiosity and everybody's ego starts to run the show. And that's a big part of what we're seeing right now. So it's really important that we regulate ourselves through rituals. The rituals were meant to regulate our nervous systems and keep our emotions in check. It was also spiritual health, energetic health, physical health, really important. And in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, you're going to find so many rituals that you can do to help you regulate your nervous system, regardless of what it is that you are trying to manifest in your life. So let's talk about regulate through ritual. Looks like slower breathing, longer exhales. It could be a warm tea. I've got my matcha. That's a daily ritual. It could be sun on your skin. I was getting some stuff done outside. It could be a quiet walk. It could be, like the rituals that we talk about in Magnetic Woman Transformation, that they're a bit more organized. It could be mirror work. It could be lighting a candle. It could be following the moon cycles. It could literally be anything, because these tiny moments of nourishment signal safety to your entire system. That's how important these moments actually are. And what's happening with most women is that they are running around overscheduled, too busy, and overfunctioning, and they don't take the time for these rituals, because in modern society, we just don't see them as important anymore, when in reality, they're super important. And pre-modern societies understood that. So rewiring principle number 3 is replacing hustle with presence. So when you feel the urge to push, I want you to pause. And I want you to ask yourself, is this coming from alignment or fear? This has been one of my biggest lessons that I have to learn on my own feminine energy journey, because presence rewires the habit of urgency and ease becomes your new baseline. I will give an example. Last week was a little bit intense because my husband and I are going to be traveling for the holidays and also for our anniversary. My husband's Airbnb business is taking off. It's getting very busy because it's busy season this time of year here. The relocation business is also busy because we've had a lot of people buying up programs and coaching to learn how to move to other countries. And then, of course, now we have Mindful Success Path as well that I started on the side because I had extra time, because my husband's a provider, and now poof, it's a business, right? So what happens is there's a level of intensity because we have to prepare to basically be out of office for 3 weeks to a month. Because we're going to be with family, it's going to be the holidays, and we're going to be going to the Bahamas for our wedding anniversary. So there's this moment of intensity where there was a lot of work and things needed to get done or pre-scheduled, or in the case of my husband's Airbnb business, he automated pretty much the entire process. But there's levels of intensity there, right? Well, it's very different to do that from a place of everything's a problem and everything's an emergency and everything's an issue versus from a place of ease, which is like, I'm going to be present as I'm doing this. I'm going to be intentional when I do this, and I'm going to thank myself in like a month, right? That's a huge difference from like constantly wanting to like push or strive because you don't think you're good enough, therefore you have to do more. Or if you don't do more, money's not going to come in. That's a totally different energy than I'm just going through an intense moment right now, and I'm still going to do that intense moment from a place of ease. Two totally different energies. And what is feminine energy work? It's all about the inside. It's all about regulating the emotions and regulating your energy. So rewiring principle number 4 is about creating safety in receiving. Now, in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, all of it is just to get you very comfortable with receiving. All 13 initiations are to get you to a point where you feel good receiving. Because what is one of the number one things that I see in the comment section on this YouTube channel? That women feel uncomfortable receiving. It's one of the number one things that I see. So in creating safety in receiving looks like creating safety in letting someone help you, in letting things be easier, in letting yourself rest without having to earn it. It's receiving teaches the body, I don't have to fight to be supported. I don't have to fight to be okay. I don't have to fight to survive. So it's creating safety in receiving. The problem is that a lot of people feel very uncomfortable receiving because they have a lot of limiting beliefs about it. And in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, I help you alchemize those beliefs through one of the initiations. So I invite you to check it out, early bird pricing until the 18th. And then finally, you want to go into rewiring principle number 5, which is celebrating the small shifts. So that's the moment when you breathe deeper. That's the moment when you say no instead of saying yes just to please another person. That's the moment that you rest. That's the moment that instead of reacting to the stimulus around you, you take that moment to pause. And it's these tiny patterns that compound into a regulated life. And when a woman is emotionally and energetically regulated, she becomes a magnet to everything. I am not kidding. Things just come to her. It's like you become this open channel for the universe to be like, I'm going to give you more. So here are the signs that your nervous system is actually shifting. You respond instead of reacting to all the stimulus around you. Your mind gets quieter. You're able to be more present. You're able to be in a state of ease, even in a moment of intensity. Ease feels natural versus indulgent. Rest feels natural versus indulgent. And you can attract a lot more into your life without pushing. So the reality is that you do not have to transform through pressure. I remember when I started going through this feminine energy journey, this was after meeting my husband, I used to thrive on pressure. I used to do really well under pressure. I can't do it anymore. That was one of the biggest differences, that once I started shifting into living from a place of more feminine energy, it just doesn't work for me anymore. I can't do pressure. I don't do pressure, and I no longer do overwhelm. Do I have little moments where I get overwhelmed? Yes, and then I catch it, and I do all the exercises that I go through in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle. But the reality is that I no longer perform under pressure. Literally can't do it. Because I understand that my transformation doesn't happen through pressure. It happens through presence. That's what I understand now that I didn't understand all those years ago. And when you regulate your nervous system, you regulate your reality. You shift your entire reality, your entire experience of the outside world. It's almost like I tell people this all the time. It's like my life did a 180 because I went from being hyper independent and perpetually single to married. I went from always living in the same place and wanting to live in other countries and never making it happen, or there was always an issue or there was always a problem, to moving to Mexico and now spending the last 3 years traveling through the Caribbean in the winters. We're about to do it again, and then already have trips to Europe planned for next year. So that was a huge shift. And then another big shift was the way in which I made money. Completely and utterly shifted. I have a provider husband. Obviously, I don't have to worry about bills in that regard. But then because I'm coming at this project, for example, from a more feminine energy place, very quickly this started to create hundreds of dollars in sales in passive income in like 2 weeks. This was so unheard of and impossible in my previous businesses. You have no idea. And I think the most feminine way to make money is in your sleep. So if you would like me to do a training on that, for those of you who run businesses, let me know, because it is a total game changer, because you go from like chasing money to attracting money, and it just wanting to continue coming into your life in different ways. I mean, right now we have so many streams of income coming in, many of which are passive, that it's like, whoa. And like every day we've just got more coming in. Why? Regulated nervous system. The nervous system finally feels safe with, I can make money doing absolutely nothing, and it's going to come to me. The nervous system finally doesn't feel like, well, in order for me to make money, I have to push or prove myself or everything will fall apart. That's not the story anymore. The story is, I make money while I rest, and I make money in a state of ease, and that has become my reality. So if you want to go deeper into feminine energy, if you want to have these types of transformations in 2026, or maybe you're watching this much later, then I invite you to join us in the Magnetic Woman Transformation Bundle, so you can go through those 13 initiations. If you are watching this in December of 2025, it is on early bird promotion for a limited time, so take advantage of that, because it will never be at this price point again. If you're watching after December 2025, the early bird has ended after December of 2025, but you are still more than welcome to join us, because it's over $2,000 of value, and you're not going to be paying anywhere near $2,000. So I invite you to join us, because through that portal is where we can start the transformation to get into nervous system safety, so you can completely rearrange your entire reality. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I know we're going into the holiday season. I hope you guys enjoy your holidays and enjoy the rest of the year, and I will catch you in the next one.